Right guys, I thought I will record a little legs routine, starting standing and then with a little bit of a load down onto the mat to get a little bit of mobility and strength going through the hips and into the legs. So starting off for standing, same as usual, making sure that you find the option, work at the option at the level that works for you. Nothing should be feeling painful onto the hip or onto the knee. And then same as usual, if there is any comment, please drop a comment into the comment box. If you enjoy the video, join me for one of the live classes. You will find all the link and the information into the description of the video. So standing up, facing the length of the mat, I'm going to find my weight, spreading the weight evenly between the front and the back of the foot, the inside and the outside of the foot. I'm going to start to shifting my weight forward, all of the body is coming forward towards the feet, towards the toes. And see if you can think of a strong connection through the front of the thighs and the toes at the front of the belly, preventing you from stumbling forward or from losing the balance. And I'm going to rock my way back and then easing my way back. Exactly the same, rocking the weight onto the heels of the feet. See how far I can go back before I feel that I'm going to lose my balance and stumble back. And then I'm going to come forward and then I'm going to ease my way back. So see if you can think of that anterior and posterior line working together to maintain my body position as the body is shifting to the front, as the body is shifting to the back. 4, 3, 2, 1, and easing back. Returning the weight evenly between the front and the back of the foot, and then I'm going to change the direction of the shifting. This time I'm going to go sideways. Imagine somebody standing next to you with their hand on your hip, pushing your hips off to the side. I'm going to go as far off to the side as this time I can feel my lateral line activating. So the side of the hip, the side of the leg, the side of the shin, the side of the waist, connecting to prevent me from stumbling over to the side. Then I'm going to shift my weight over the other way. Now the tendency on the lateral shifting is to start leaning, so start doing that kind of thing. And that kind of thing is not going to activate anything as there is no control whatsoever there. So see if I can think of all of the body shifting. So if my hips were covered, I could have walked to the side. It wouldn't have made any difference to my balance. So see if I can avoid the shoulders taking over and then making the body lean to the side. So I'm going to try and push off as far as I can and then coming back, and then I'm going to push the other way as far as I can the other way and then coming back. The little wobble is a good thing. It's telling me that I can't go any further than that without losing my balance. So it's good. I'm pushing as close to that wobble point as I possibly can, but without going past it or I'll be stumbling over. 4, 3, 2. Last one, and releasing back. Returning the weight evenly between the right and the left foot, the front and back of the foot, and then I'm going to start the squatting down. Bending the knees, hinging forward from the hips, I'm going to drop down into the squat. Think of the hips dropping down first, so not the head. So I don't want to put my head on the floor, I want to put my bum on the floor. So I'm going to drop the hips down, I'm going to sit down into that squat as far as I feel comfortable, and then I'm just going to push my way back up into standing and then trying again. Watch the knees as you're doing so, as the tendency, if the leg, especially the lateral chain is weak, is for the legs to collapse. So my hips are not strong enough to support the leg, so as I start squatting, my legs start collapsing together, so a little bit like a rag doll. So see if I can be aware of maintaining the feet lifted, so the arches are nice and lifted on the inside, the foot is planted. As I drop down into the squat, if I look down at my shins, they're still nice and upright, they've not moved together. as this is not a strong position. This is a very weakened position, as the knee, the hip will be twisting. So see if I can try and find that nice stronger position through, and then dropping back again. And then same as we said at the beginning, making sure there's the hips that are dropping, not the head, so the chest and the head are lifted. I can make it harder if I want to. I can get the arms up to the top. Imagine to be holding a big bar above the head, above the shoulders. See if I can keep the bar above the shoulders, making sure that it doesn't drop as I'm coming down into my squat, just encouraging that extension, the lift in the front of the body. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and releasing back, releasing the arms and relaxing the legs. There's a little bit more connection into the legs. I'm going to see if I can get a little bit more activation into the stabilizers. Shuffling the feet a little bit closer together. I'm going to bend the right knee, roll up onto the ball of the foot to come up onto the big toe. Lifting the big toe off the ground, I'm going to bring the knee up as high as I feel comfortable, as I feel in control. See if you can think of a nice deep hip flexion. So I want my hip to close as much as I can. I don't want to lean backwards, I don't want to lean forward and no sideways. I'm going to ease that leg back, and then I'm going to try again. Same leg, same movement. I'm going to bend the knee, coming up onto the big toe, lifting the big toe off the ground. I'm going to lift up as high as I can, and then I'm going to ease back. If the balance is there, aim for a big movement. So what I want is for my hip joint to flex to 90 degrees at least, and then go past 90 degrees. So really trying to hit the psoas muscle, your deep hip flexor, your main hip flexor. So I'm going to try and pull it up as high as I can, and then I'm going to ease back. As I feel that the balance starts getting a little bit better, so I feel that I can balance on this leg, it feels a bit easier. I can lift this leg up to a certain point. It doesn't matter if it's very high or very low, I can lift the leg. I'm going to use the arms if I need to go past that 90. So I'm going to lift up, I'm going to grab a hold of the leg, and then physically with the arms I'm going to pull the leg past that 90. Then what I want is for the hip flexor to lock the leg into position, and then I'm just going to drop, and then I'm going to try again. So think of a 2 seconds hold at the top of each lift. So I'm going to lift up, use the arms to take the leg a little bit higher. I'm going to lock it there, lock it tight, let go with the arms, 1, 2, and then I'm going to ease that leg back. 3 more times. So I'm going to lift a little bit higher, hold it, 3, 2, 1, and easing back. 2 more. Lift it, pull it higher, lock, 3, 2, 1, and easing back. Last time, lifting up, pull it higher, 3, 2, 1, and releasing back. Releasing the leg, releasing the hip. I'm going to try exactly the same thing to the other side. So bending the left knee, rolling up onto the ball of the foot, up onto the big toe, lifting the big toe off the ground. See how high I can lift the leg without leaning backwards, forward, sideways, and then I'm just going to ease the leg back. It's the same as I did on the other side. To see if I can try and get to that 90 degree, and then just a little bit further than that 90 degree angle, and then I'm going to release the leg back. So really trying to get deep into the hip. So I'm going to lift, and then lower back. 3, and back. 4, 5. And then now that the balance is a little bit better, the hip is a little bit warmer, I'm going to go a little bit deeper. So I'm going to lift up, using the arms that pull it higher, lock the hip, don't let the leg drop. 2, 1, and release. Trying again. Lifting up. Pull a little bit higher, lock it there, don't drop. 2, 1, and releasing down. And then trying again. So lifting up, lifting a little bit higher, lock in place, let go, 2, 1, and releasing back, 3 more, lifting up, a little bit higher, hold it there, let go with the arms, 2, 1, and drop, 2 more, lifting up, a little bit higher, hold it there, 2, 1, and drop, last time, lifting up, a little bit higher, hold it there, 2, 1, and releasing down. Relaxing the hip, releasing the leg. So there's a little bit more activation through the psoas, there's a little bit more activation through the glutes. I'm going to try and work them together. So standing facing the length of the mat if you're using the mat. I'm going to stand to the front of the mat. I've got room at the back. I can make my lunge as long, as shallow, as deep, as short as I want. I'm going to repeat on the same leg. So I'm going to stand on my right leg and then I'm going to start lunging backwards on my left leg. So I'm going to go back with the left leg as far as I want, dropping down as deep as I want. As I come back, instead of stepping the feet back together, I'm going to come up into a nice knee lift. Then I'm going to lunge my way back and then I'm going to come forward again. And then lunge my way back and then come forward again. So it could be a little step, it could be a deeper step, it could be a long step, a short step, whatever you want to make it. Once that you feel a little bit more balanced, so I feel that I can move from the front to the back and see if I can get the arms to help me drive that movement. So I'm going to go into a little rounding man. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and releasing back. Releasing the hip, I'm going to do exactly the same thing with the other side. So this time I'm going to lunge back on the right leg. And then as I come back, I'm going to come up into that knee lift. And then back into the lunge, and then into that knee lift. And then same as on the other side, see if I can find that rhythm that works. So for me, see if I can find the speed, the size of the movement that works for me. And then see if I can use the arm to help me power that movement. Forward and back, as if I was trying to go into a nice run. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and releasing back. Releasing the hips and releasing the legs. It's a little bit more activation front to back. I want a little bit more side to side. So I'm going to stand to the right side of the mat, give myself room to the left. This time I'm going to lunge sideways. So I'm going to take a large, small, deeper, shallow step to the side. The only thing is I want to be able to spring back. So if I take it too long, it won't be springy, and I'll have to kind of like project myself over. So see if I can try and find a movement that allows me to spring back. So think of side of the hip and inner thigh working together to open and close, open and close. Making sure that you're landing on that foot, knee and hip are in a good alignment. The leg is not collapsing through, so I'm not creating pressure into the hip or into the knee. Once that I'm happy that the leg is set, then I'm going to see if I can add the upper body. I'm going to add a little bit more load into the leg, so I'm adding a little rotation. So as the leg opens to the side, with my opposite arm, I'm going to try and follow that foot. Just making sure that you're not head diving, so your back is not rounding, I'm not slouching. I want a nice straight back, rotating to help me reach through. So I might only be able to reach the knee. It doesn't really matter. And then I'm going to push back. So I'm going to go and come back. Cross and come back. Cross and come back. Cross and come back. So imagine a little string that you're putting around your big toe and then pulling back. Putting around your big toe and pulling back. Now can you try and pull the string a little bit harder and let the big toe come up too. 10, 9, 8, 7, little pause, 6, little pause, 5, little pause, 4, little pause, 3, 2, 1, and releasing back, releasing the hips, releasing the legs. I'm going to do exactly the same thing to the other side, so giving myself a little bit more room to the right this time. I'm going to try and find the right size for that lunge, making sure that I can feel inner thigh and side of the hips are working together to get that nice squeeze through. So opening and closing, opening and closing. And then I'm happy with the movement again. I feel that I've got that nice spring going. See if I can add the opposite arm. Encouraging that nice rotation, turning, making sure that you're not hunching, so my head is not dropping below my shoulder, it's not diving down and towards the ground. The chest is lifted as I'm turning to the side. And then think of that little string that you're attaching to the big toe, and then pulling back, attaching to the big toe, and pulling back. See if I can attach it to the big toe to lift it up. Cross and open again. 2, 3, little pause, 4, little pause, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, and releasing back, releasing the hips and releasing the legs. So hips and legs should be feeling a little bit warmer, standing facing the length of the mat. I'm going to let the chin drop to the chest, the shoulders come forward, and then rounding the upper back, rounding the lower back, bending the knees as much as you need, hands on the mat. I'm going to start walking the hands forward, lowering the knees down. Now remember the knee lifter that you practiced at the beginning, trying to get your psoas going. This time I want my psoas, my obliques at the side of the belly and the side of the bum to work, so my glute med. So I'm going to stay up on my hands and knees, and then lifting one leg, one knee off the ground. I'm going to keep the knee up nice and high. What I want is for my knee to touch the back of my arm. Aim to touch above the elbow, not below, above the elbow. So I'm going to pull the knee to the elbow, above the elbow if I can, and then with the other leg I'm going to do the same. So think of a nice swing round, pull and come back. Now the tendency, if the hip is not strong, is to try and shorten the distance. So I'm bringing my arm now closer to my knee. See if you can be aware of pressure staying off the wrists. So I don't want to lean forward and put more pressure into them. I want to keep the same pressure on the wrist. So I'm just going to pull the leg one and pull the leg to the other side. Then see if I can really get the knee to touch the back of the arm. If I find that that's easy, I want to make it a little bit more challenging. Then I'm going to try and see if I can do it from a 3/4 position. So I'm going to make myself a little bit longer. So from there, I still want to get the knee to the arm, the knee to the arm the other way. And then if I find that they're still too easy, I want to make it harder, I'm going to come up onto the toes, and then I'm going to do it from there. If I feel that that's even easier, that's still easy, I want to make it even harder, then I'm going to drop down onto the forearms, and then I'm going to pull from there. As you're dropping down into the forearm, you're giving yourself less space. So if you're actually not hitting above the elbow, if I'm down here, then my leg will kind of like drag along the mat. So what I want is to make sure that my knee is off the mat. So I want to get it to the arm, the other way. 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and releasing back. Pushing back into shoulder, pushing back into shell stretch, allowing the arms to relax, so the hips are to relax. This is a little bit more connection front and side. This time I want a little bit more towards the inside of the leg. So taking the legs around to the side, lowering yourself all the way down until you're resting on the back. What I want is for the load to go through my inner thigh, so the adductor, the inside of the leg. I'm going to lift my right leg up, and then I'm going to extend it away until I can see that my right leg is level with my left. But my left foot is on the ground. What I want is to externally rotate that right leg, as at the moment all the load is again into the front of my hip. So I'm going to turn the thigh, the knee, the shin and the foot, so that they're slightly out to the right. So I can feel that the tension has changed. It's now coming through the inner thigh more towards the groin. Maintaining that load on the inner thigh, I'm going to start opening that leg out to the side. I don't want the leg to drop. The tendency is to start going far too big and far too low. What I want is for the leg to stay up, to stay rotated, and then just to open up about, I don't know, a foot to the side, nothing too big. Then I'm going to come back, and then I'm going to open it again. Now the tension is on the inside of that leg moving and into the side of the belly, helping me to stabilize that movement. My left bum cheek is staying on the ground, so it's not my bum rocking that is moving the leg. My hips are stable, it's the leg moving into the hip socket that is creating that movement into the leg. So I'm going to open and then close, keeping that external rotation. So excuse the view. Making sure that the right arm is not pressing hard into the ground. So you're not trying to stabilize with your arm or with your shoulder. You're trying to use your core, you're trying to use your center. So I can feel the inner thigh is working. On the next one, I'm going to externally rotate. To keep that external rotation, I'm going to open the leg out to the side and then holding it there for 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. I'm going to close back to the center, and then I'm going to try again. Keeping the external rotation, I'm going to open it to the side, holding it there for 8 this time. 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Easing back to the center. Trying again, external rotation, open it out to the side, hold it there for 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Closing back to center. Last time, going for 4. External rotation, open it to the side, hold it there. Tension is still on the inside of the leg. 4, 3, 2, 1, and easing back. Releasing the leg down, relaxing the leg and releasing the hip. I can feel the adductors, I can feel the inner thigh working on the right side. I'm going to try and find the same on the left. So I'm going to lift the left leg, extending the leg away, making sure that the leg is straight, as if the knee bends, the tension tends to go, and it's very hard to externally rotate with the bent knee as well. So nice straight leg, the legs are level. I'm going to externally rotate, so turning the leg so that my foot is pointing slightly to the left, and then once that I've got that external rotation, I'm going to start opening that left leg out to the side. It's the same as before. It doesn't need to be a massive movement. I don't want the leg to drop, I don't want the leg to lift, I want the leg to stay at the same height, just move off to the side slightly. I'm going to close back to center, and then I'm going to open it again, making sure that this time the right bum cheek stays on the ground, so my pelvis is not lifting as the leg is moving. So it's not my hips are rocking, it's just the leg moving into the hip socket. So externally rotating, opening, and closing back. External rotation, open, and then close back. And then just noticing this side might fatigue a lot quicker, might be a little bit of a struggle. I might find that it feels as if it's crumping up, or it feels a lot easier. If I need the rest, I'm going to take the rest. If I can keep it going, I'm going to keep it going. Making sure that the leg is still straight, it's not bending. Making sure that the leg is still level with the other side, it's not lifting higher, it's not dropping lower. And then now that I feel that the tension is in the right place, I'm going to load it a little bit more. So externally rotating, opening the leg out to the side, holding it there. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Closing back to center. and trying again. External rotation, opening, holding there. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Easing back. For 6. External rotation, open, hold it there. 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Close it back. Last time. External rotation, open it to the side, hold it there. For 4, 3, 2, 1, and releasing back. Releasing the leg down, relaxing the hip, releasing the inner thigh. So there's a little bit more connection through the inside of the leg. I'm going to finish off with the back of the leg, hips and bums. So bending the knees, walking the feet up and towards you. The feet and the knees about the hips width apart. I'm going to lift the left leg up and then extending that left leg away. This time I'm going to hold the leg straight ahead. Then think of the hip bones. What I want is for my left hip bone to stay level with my right. I'm going to push down into the right foot and then squeezing with the back of the bum. I'm going to drive my hips up and towards the ceiling. So see if I can get into a hip extension. Making sure that the left hip is not slightly below the right, so I'm not twisting to the side. I'm nice and level. Try to get that hip to go up. The more you lift it, the more the bum tends to get into the right position to squeeze or to generate that lift. Then I'm going to ease my way back. I'm going to switch to the other side. I'm going to extend the right leg, pushing down through that left foot, to squeezing with the back of the bum, making sure that the right hip is level with the left. See if I can encourage it to come up, or really feeling that tension wrapping around the left bum cheek, and then I'm going to ease my way back, swapping to the other side. If you find that the lift on one leg is too much, my hamstrings are cramping up straight away, then that's because your hamstring is doing all the work. So I suggest you keep both feet to the ground and then really trying to get the glutes to squeeze, to activate, to feel them, touch them, pinch them, prod them, anything that helps you establish that connection. If I feel that the glutes are working, then I'm going to stick to my single leg lift. Extending through and then dropping back. Swapping over, extending through to the other side. Coming back, swapping over, extending through to the other side. Notice the arms and making sure that you're not trying to dig and drive through the arms. They're reasonably relaxed. 4, 3, remember to breathe. 2, last one, and releasing back. Giving the legs a little walk, giving the legs a little shake. When you're ready, pushing yourself up into sitting. Taking the legs out to the side, I'm going to ease some of the tension off the back and the inside of the leg at the same time. If you find that the position is a bit uncomfortable, your hips are very tight or your hamstrings are very tight, as I find that I'm sitting here, so I don't feel very comfortable sitting here. But something underneath the bum, a block, a pillow, a rolled mat, will do to raise my hips up a little bit higher so I can sit straighter. And then keeping the straight upright position, think of the legs as wide as you can, or at least your knees as wide as the shoulders, so be able to feel the stretch through the inner thigh. I'm going to give a little nudge to the hips, so see if I can roll from the tailbone forward towards the pubic bone, so see if I can try and lift at the back, straightening out the lower back. As soon as I do that, I might be able to already feel a bit of a tension through the inner thighs. Once that I've got the tension, I'm going to keep hinging my way forward and then think of the direction of the movement. I want to stretch my legs, not my back. So I don't want my head to touch the ground, as that will just pull on the back muscle. I want my chest to touch the ground. So I'm going to try and ease my way forward, lengthen my way through, see if I can try and pull myself into the space between the legs to see if I can try and find that stretch that works for my inner thighs, for my legs. So I might only be able to sit upright, I might be able to get my chest to the ground. Everybody's different. I'm just going to hold this steady. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and ease and back. Relaxing the legs, releasing the hips, giving the front of the hip a little bit of a stretch, coming up onto hands and knees. I'm going to keep my right knee down on the floor, lifting my left foot ahead. I'm going to shuffle the right knee back as far as I can. So really trying to open up into the front of the right hip. And then keeping the hands on top of the left knee if I feel balanced enough. Keeping the hands on the ground if I feel I'm a bit wobbly here. I'm going to squeeze with my right bum cheek, the hips are down and towards the ground, just opening up through the front of the hip. If I feel that the stretch is still not strong enough, I want it stronger, then keeping the hips are driving down and towards the ground to see if I can try and pull the knee away. Now the tendency if the hip is tight is for the bum to lift up. I want the hips to stay down. So with the bum I'm trying to drive forward, with the knee I'm trying to lift up. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and releasing back. We're swapping the legs around, the left knee comes down, the right foot just steps forward. I'm going to shuffle the knee back as far as I can again, keeping the hands down, or hands on top of the right knee, and then same as before, squeezing with the left bum cheek, the hips are down and towards the ground. If I wanted the stretch to go stronger, tucking the toes under and then keep the hips down. See if I can get the knee to lift away, the leg twists then behind. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and releasing back. Taking both legs behind, pushing back into shell, pushing back into child, allowing the hips to reset, the back to relax. And then when you're ready, I'm curling all the way back up. So we've had a good workout all the way through the legs. I hope you enjoyed it. Again, if you need a little bit more stretch, there are a couple of stretch videos or the yoga videos, so that might be beneficial to you. Otherwise, I hope we'll see you all soon.